What's going on? How's everybody doing? So, just real quick, we want to shout out to the people that sponsor this and make this possible. Um, First off,
Oh,
Batman
yeah.
Nation. Thank you, Chris Eaton
Okay.
and Shauna. Thank you, Chris. It's good to see you doing well again, brother, and back out, getting out of the hospital. Glad we're seeing you back out there. Uh, and huge shout out to US Art. Thank you for everything you guys do, making everything that everybody in the hobby uh, possible in every aspect of it. What's
Oh,
up, Kat?
are we live?
Yeah,
Wait, how come I can't hear anything?
Rutro.
Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
I can hear you. All right, technical difficulties, folks. Let's All right, Sean.
Click.
Sean, we get.
Okay. Sean, can you send it to my Instagram, the link, because
Yes, ma'am. I'm already working on it.
I
What's
can't
up,
hear.
Sean?
What up?
Oh
What up?
They
wait,
What
call
up?
me popping in.
there we go. Now I can
I
hear.
hear Cat just fine, and I hear Joe.
Yep, I could hear.
And
Okay,
and you can't hear
I
Joe
can't hear
or
Sean.
me. You can't
Can
hear
you hear?
me.
Who do you hear, Kat?
Joe.
All right, well that's perfect.
Oh, okay.
There we go. We're back, folks. We're back. A little bit of
Hi.
hey, Sean, clip it. Uh, yeah, you're gonna hear that a few times now tonight. That's a new thing. So, yeah. What's up, Duval? Thanks for jumping in there. Of course,
Hi,
big
Dog.
homie,
The
Sean.
big homie.
Will, what's up? Good to see you.
Hey, Will.
What's up? H&H Pythons going on. Kate and James, how y'all doing?
I see.
Will,
Hi, Pete. Can we hear me now? Who?
oh, they're just laughing.
Oh, okay.
Technical difficulties. Yeah.
Gosh, dying here.
Oh, so cool big announcement, Kat. You'll love this. My wonderful wife, Carrie. Kat is we've all got to hang out and stuff, so Kat knows.
Yeah.
Carrie has not been a big fan of tarantulas. I know, for shame. Well, that all changed. Um, all right, that was supposed to be cooler. In the back here, we have a wonderful adult Brazilian black that Carrie now has held her first ever tarantula.
Yay. Good job, Carrie.
Here's the crazy thing. She actually likes this one. That's her girl. All the
Uh,
other ones, nah. But that one,
did she
yeah.
name it?
So what's that?
Did she name it?
No, we haven't named it yet.
Okay.
Well, she tried. I vetoed it. We're not calling it Black Beauty. No. She's a horse girl, so she went that way, went no.
Oh.
I was, really stiff,
No,
but that what's that?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, little glitch in the system. No, I
No,
said I thought of something very stately like Agatha, but
I
we'll
like
see. We'll see. Um, she's definitely a big girl. I think you're right. She's getting ready to molt. She looks like she's looking for a spot. We got her some nice big cork bark rounds and get her set up.
it.
And there's the purple bloom, who's a whole different critter.
Mm-hmm.
And I have those out because they'll be a great showpiece as what's good and what's not for your first ever tarantula. Clip it. It's
Wow.
gonna
It's gonna
get
be fun.
old so fast. Oh man.
And then I have my floor here. Hold on. Shh, shh, everybody. Shh. It sounds like it sounds funny. My floor is creaking.
Creaky creaky.
Yeah. So if you hear a creak, I did not toot. It was the floor. Anyways.
Awesome.
Everybody's laughing. That's funny. Join the dark side. Yes, Will. She did join the dark side.
Will.
Literally. With the black.
Oh, we got a second vote for Agatha.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
I love that name for her.
Ooh, you know what might be fun is we might have to put it out there, maybe a couple names, and maybe the followers can vote.
Yeah.
And next time we do a show, we can tally up the votes and see what wins.
Mm-hmm. We could do that too.
That could be fun. Yeah,
But I'm winning towards Agatha.
I'm liking Agatha too.
Yeah.
I like it. It's very fitting. She's definitely
Mhm.
an Agatha.
For sure.
So,
Do it. It
so
would be awesome. See? Everybody's saying it. Do it. It would be awesome. All right. So we're doing it.
all right.
So,
Will,
Joe,
what's up?
what are we doing today?
So we're going to talk about. Oh, let me get my notes. I got to have notes. ADHD brain. So, first beginner tarantulas. There have been a billion podcasts and videos about this, but I think ours is going to be a little bit different
Yes, it is. And why is that?
because I freaking hate top 10 lists. Top 10 lists are the absolute worst.
Mm-hmm.
They force you into giving a certain number and why something made the list and why something didn't make the list. And just instead of saying, here's a handful of choices that I think are good, maybe it's 7, maybe it's 4, who knows? But the talk about why some animals are good, why some aren't.
Mm-hmm.
And, the other thing with top 10 lists is that we need to say, this is really an opinion list. This is not, this is what you have to do. And there's one I'm going to talk about tonight that's probably going to tick a few people off, but oh well. And at the end of the day, one of the things, all right, watch me, folks, as I read my cue cards. Nothing that I say, Kat says, anyone else ever says about anything ever is guaranteed. There are exceptions to every rule. I have heard of, not seen it, but Brazilian blacks. I've heard that someone has told me they've had an aggressive one. I've never seen it, but I guarantee you it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
And when we give advice, when we talk about stuff, it's more to inspire you to do your own research. Go look into stuff. And by the way, everything, including us on the internet, don't believe it just because it's said and you heard it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go way off tarantulas. I watched another great podcast called Mike's Monitors, or with Mike's Monitors, Michael Stefani and Nick Lillis, called Monitor Brains. Two people that are in the industry that know a humongous amount through experience, research about their animals, and they want the absolute best care for those animals. And they talk about that. And I find that a great source of information. So I go look at that and it inspires me to do my own research. And one of the things they say is go do your own research. And my biggest, biggest thing I took away from that is, and it applies to all animals, they said, pay attention to your monitor. It will tell you what it needs, how your care is going. I looked at my monitor today and I'm going to call myself out. My humidity's off. I need to bump that shit up. Sorry, stuff up. Don't clip that. Potty mouth. So it was a little too dry, and I went, nope. Okay. Now he's a little on the skinny side because he's getting used to stuff and he's not eating as much as he should. That's not on me. That's just time and patience. Now, in a couple months, if I'm still having issues, well, then I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong. But that being said, their whole point was deep dive into stuff, look at stuff. And I then turned around and watched a large monitor group talk about the worst possible ways to feed monitors. But instead of saying it was the worst possible way, they're actually saying this was the best way to feed monitors. And it was honestly a little scary to me because some person in there said they're basically trash compactors. And I'm quoting, they're basically trash compactors. You can feed them whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I went, I need to walk away. And so one of the things that I'm beating a point home, do your own research, find actual books written by current biologists, current zoologist. And even then, there's been talk like zoos have not always done it right. So just because a zoo is doing it a certain way doesn't mean it's correct. I can tell you personally, and I'm thinking most of you out there in the exotics world have seen reptiles and such things at zoos. You went, that's how you do this? Well, that's scary. Um, so how many reptile enclosures you've seen at a zoo that's like 15 foot tall for a completely terrestrial ground animal that will never climb,
Mm,
but the footprint was tiny.
yeah.
So do your own research, folks.
Yeah. That's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up because it relates to everything. Do your research. Awesome. But doing your research today is about tarantulas. What's the beginner is not necessarily our opinion, but it should be your opinion, the audience, because
Mm-hmm.
your beginner tarantula is going to be based on and be decided on what's your comfort level, what's your education level, and your research level. And you don't really want to rely on, oh, because they say that that's the most docile, I should get that one. No. Typically, yes, that is a good advice because you don't want to get into something that's super spicy and then something down the line something happens. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it needs to be based on what your education level is at,
Yep.
based on what the tarantula is. So the census is New World is your starting point. And not only is the New World a good starting point, but when you're doing your research, you need to know more than what species is it. You need to know the anatomy and the uh, where it comes from, the region areas and stuff like that. So when you're doing your research, make sure you're watching videos of multiple people, not just one source. You go to multiple sources. Granted, there are some outdated things. So when you do your research, make sure you're up to par or up to date with what research you do find. And with that finding, you're going to study the two things, the anatomy and the scientific names. I know. You're probably saying, oh, I don't want to get into tarantulas now. It's like going back to school, but it's so detrimental. If you are wanting to get a tarantula, it's not just willy nilly, I'm going to get it. No, because this animal is so very important to not get it killed, not only for the animal, but before the community. Because if you get an animal, not just tarantulas, but if you get an animal and God forbid something happens to it or to you, that's not just going to ruin your reputation, but it's going to ruin the entire community because of
Mm-hmm.
your irresponsibility. So
And
that's,
the animal might get euthanized.
thank you. Yes. So please take it with a grain of salt and
Yep.
do your research, please.
You know, I'm going to throw out one addendum like in there, and I say this carefully. So hear the entire sentence, and the end of it is the most important, and it lines up with what Kat said. There are going to be a lot of tarantulas out there that are really cool, and the last part of the sentence we'll get into deeper down the road. But get what you really want. What inspires you to get into tarantulas within your capabilities,
Mm,
just like Kat said, within your capabilities. Just because I tell you that I want you to get a golden sunshine sapphire whatever because it's the bestest thing ever and it will bake bread for you and drive you to work, don't just get it because I told you to. Don't just get it because I told you it's the coolest thing ever. Get something that you really want.
yeah.
But That doesn't mean that you need to go out. What's a good one? Ooh, a cobalt blue. Don't go just get a cobalt blue if this is your first tarantula. Um, and right, and that's it too. So you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I'm glad Sean threw that in there, uh, because every tarantula, just like every animal, they are an animal, folks. They're not a robot. They're not packaged. And this is something I think I've seen when it comes to tarantulas and invert, even worse than snakes and lizards, is that everybody thinks that it is every one of them is going to act 100% the same, and they do not.
Right.
Not even close. I've had so-called aggressive species
Mm-hmm.
be really, really relaxed. Now,
Yeah.
granted, they were like the less than 5% of them,
Yeah.
but they still happen. I've known OBTs that are scarily relaxed,
Yeah.
and I honestly worried that they were sick, but they were not. They just were really, really relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, scorpions are beyond my comprehension. Well, they're either sleepy or angry. That's the only two moods I've ever been able to get off of them.
Yeah.
But within that, understand that you know uh, as they molt too, personalities can change as they get older. Just like anything, um, we've all seen snakes and lizards that as they get older, their personality changes. Usually, most of them calm down, but not always. Not always. And then maybe we get into the whole: do you want a sling versus a juvenile versus an adult?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure Kat can tell us a whole lot as to the whys we want one or all of those sizes and ages.
Yep. Quick, I want to do a quick shout out to Australia. If you are not familiar with Emma Tini, she is the one of the heads of the reptile zoo in Australia, and she deals with the funnel web spider. She collects the antivenom so they can make. She collects these specimens and they create antivenom for the people in Australia. Um,
That's
so
hardcore.
yes, so the people in Australia, they cannot import or outport any tarantula. So they have to automatically start off with an old world because that is an old world
Oh
country.
my goodness.
So I want to give props to the people who have tarantulas over there because that's what they initially have to start off with. And they don't just go out and get them. They actually have to do their research. So just how they do their research and it's very thorough, take that advice just how they do it.
Wow.
Mhm.
Just jumping feet first right in with old world.
Mhm.
I mean, so old worlds understand the basic part of old worlds. They all have very spicy venom.
Mhm.
Um, None of it is weak. Some is not as bad as it could be, but all of it is very potent.
Yeah.
And your choices are potent venom or potent venom and fast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
actually, most of them are just fast to begin with. So they're almost all. It's just some are really fast and some are just pretty fast.
Yeah. Teleporters.
There's a few old worlds that aren't the worst,
Yeah.
but before we get into our top 10 list, I know,
Yeah.
flip it. Um, uh, I want to compare like a golden blue leg baboon tarantula to like a Venezuelan sun tiger.
Mhm.
So a Venezuelan sun tiger is a new world with no urticating hairs and some pretty gnarly venom.
Mhm.
Whereas the golden blue leg is considered kind of like your entry level old world. It's on that list of entry level.
Mhm.
Um, but I would say neither of those are very good beginner tarantulas.
Mm-mm.
Um, and oops, shout, what's up, Sky? Um, you want to be really careful in looking at that. I think you're more likely to lose it and have it hurt itself and it run off than you are to get bit. And there's
Yeah.
more chances of harming the animal. Everybody worries about the first thing that everybody hears, and listen to all the exotics folks in the comments groan. Does
Mhm.
it bite?
Mm.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Poke it and find out. Put
Right.
your hand in a silly place.
Mm-hmm.
Do silly things. They
Yeah.
don't want to bite, but if you make them feel scared or they confuse you for food, things
Yeah.
happen.
Mm-hmm. And it's not only the the venom ranking or level, it's also the type of venom, because there's like old world, for example, Africa species, their venom acts differently than a European one or an Asian one. So meaning their toxicology is very different. So an African species, their venom acts as a slow type venom where it makes their prey become very slow and lethargic, where it starts to act slow. Whereas
So, like a neurotoxin.
yes, so Asian tarantulas, their venom acts very fast. So and it's very paralyzing.
Mm,
So there could be one that doesn't paralyze you, but it makes you lethargic, and then there's some that paralyzes you. Now, I'm not talking about humans. I'm talking about like their prey. But even
hmm
if it's meant for their prey, that effect can be different on the human body. So it attacks not just the white cells, but it goes into the lymphatic system.
So, if you're not scared yet, um, honestly, I've talked to a lot of different keepers that have had different bites, and generally they're not fully envenomated. Envenomated?
Uh huh.
Sure, we'll go with that. Um, they don't want to waste that venom because it takes precious energy to build that venom up, and they need to use it to eat. That actually digests their food. It's not like a wasp where it's purely defensive.
Right.
Just like venomous snakes, it's more to help digest the food and paralyze the food to kill the food so that way they can eat it, but it also helps them digest it,
Mm-hmm.
which is something people forget about with venomous snakes as well. So
Yeah.
they don't want to waste that, right? They don't want to just give that up because it takes them time to make that. So you'll get what's called a dry bite.
Yes.
So what you have are two very good sized fangs that are large, and they're just going to poke them in you, and it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have been very, very lucky to never have been bit because I'm very, very careful. Um, and before I got my first tarantulas, I've been handling tarantulas for about 3 years, doing them in the worst possible scenarios, in the worst possible situations, basically taking them, putting them in a light box at an expo. And now they've been bounced around in a deli cup like everybody's seen them,
Yeah.
driving anywhere from an hour to 2 hours away. Then they're out. Then all of a sudden they get, all the people walking around the tables, and, everybody's so gentle and kind when they pick them up, and then they get put in a box. So I saw them in their worst possible uh, spots in their life, almost, next to if they're wild caught, getting caught. Um, but it was amazing to me at just a little bit of, relaxed mannerism, how quickly they would calm down.
Yeah.
Um, Tarantulas were very scary to me at first. I didn't understand them. I didn't understand their body language. I didn't know what they were going to do. In my mind, like, TV's done such a good job of teaching us, and the internet, that they just want to eat my face. It's going to be like aliens. It's going to be a face hugger. I'm going to try and take a photo. It's going to get me. Clip it. Um, so it took me a while, and I worked with a very experienced keeper that Andy Witter from Eight Legs, Fangs, and Things. Look at him in a future episode. Um, and after learning, what does it mean when the abdomen raises up? Okay, they're not happy. Um, when they start getting ready to flick hairs, and they start raising that leg as a warning that they're going to flick hairs. When certain old worlds, certain new worlds will give you a threat display. Um, Different things that I learned on how they move, how quick they move,
Mm-hmm.
and the signs before the signs of when they're not happy.
Mm-hmm.
Happy defensive versus just scared, when they scrunch up basically and they pull their knees to them and make themselves as small as possible,
Yeah.
which is really interesting to me that tarantulas do that. That's a tarantula basically giving up. Is saying, I'm just so scared, I'm going to make myself as small as possible. Then they don't even try to bite. They don't threat display. They don't come at you. They just keep curled up.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it very interesting that once you gave them like a good piece of cork bark, you let them sit there and relax, that they would relax and they find out that everything's not so scary. So tarantulas have a certain level of thought process, not frontal lobe like we have, but they understand certain things
Yeah,
and safety, not safe, food, not food. So if you let them feel safe, they'll relax, most of
yeah,
them. And we've got two back there that'll show you the polar opposites.
exactly. So with this learning episode, we're going to look at a few pictures and we're going to talk about the anatomy so we can dock it off and you guys can say, yep, I learned it. So, Sean, if you could please put up the first picture and we could talk about it.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So, here we have a Brachypelma homori, which is a New World species. And we have the above and below pictures. So, we're going to start off with some uh, vocabulary. We're going to start off with the legs, where the thighs are. We have the trochanter, the femur, the patella, the tibia, the base tarsus, the teletarsus, which are the claws, um, and then the abdomen, which a lot of people call it the booty. So the abdomen is actually called the opistosoma. I know the words are kind of blurry, so that's why I'm reading everything for you guys. And so the head, aka the carapace, is in the center. It is an indentation called central apodemene, and that central conjunction is called the pedicle. And then where the eyes are, like in between the eyes, is called the prosoma, and where the eyes are, it's called the ocular tubercle. And then when you get down to the where the fangs are, it's basically the mouth area, but it's called the chelicerae. And then you see those two front legs that are shorter. So those first appendages are actually not considered legs, rather an extensional appendage called pedipalps. So those two front legs are what helps the tarantula, grab their food, hang on to their food, and eat their food, slurp up their food, basically. And then, can you show the other picture? Perfect. So everything that I had said, you can kind of clearly see it just a little bit. But what I want to focus on here on this picture is where is it? The carapace. So when you're studying tarantulas, the carapace is going to be a really big indicator on what species you have, because a lot of the carapace, they have different designs, and you can kind of tell what species you have once you study. Um, and so at the bottom of the abdomen, you have the spinnerets. That's where they spin out their spinnerets. I mean, their webbing, if you will. And the web is called silk. So if you see a lot of webbing around your house, no, it's not from a tarantula, it's from spiders. So spiders and tarantulas both have spinnerets. Um, but tarantulas do not use their webbing to catch their prey. They use it mostly to make molt mats and to construct their homes. Rather, spiders use their webbing to catch their prey. You want to add anything, Joe?
So, within understanding all of that, and it is important because if you don't know what something's for, you won't know when something's wrong till it's far too late.
Mm-hmm.
And tarantulas are very adaptable animals, but they're also very delicate, right? So we've talked a bunch of times about how when you handle them, that falling from just even 6 inches can severely damage them or kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when you understand what the body parts are and how they move, you'll be less afraid. You'll be more confident, and then they will be less afraid and more confident.
Yeah.
And there are less chances of accidents due to you being scared. Um, I think my greatest fear for I've got a couple, but my greatest fear for new tarantula owners is, it's like, oh look, and then the hand flings, and there goes poor little tarantula, or worse, because it's flying, they like to hold on with whatever they can. And
Mm-hmm.
by the way, their fangs are little hands for them, and they'll take their fangs and they will hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the ever slightest of grips from one. It didn't actually hold down. I was almost disappointed because I've seen them actually hold on really tight before. And I
Mm-hmm.
kind of wanted to know what that was like. But it didn't, because it didn't use any more effort than it needed to. And that is something that you should pay attention to. It's not going to do more than it has to do,
Right.
because that burns energy. These animals are hardwired not to burn any more energy than necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's burning energy, you need to ask yourself why that is. Is its environment okay? Are you stressing it out? So once again, learn that anatomy, understand that anatomy. I constantly have to go back and re-educate myself. Um, I'm lucky that I'm around a lot of people that know a ton, so I can just absorb relentlessly. But there's a lot of things that you can learn, but there are some things that you definitely need to learn.
Mm-hmm. All right. So everything that we have learned in the past episodes, we're going to combine them all together
Hmm.
and basically show how it is to potentially hold or handle some of these tarantulas. But you wanted to do the list, right? First.
Yeah, I had a few things, and I want to bring them up because I think that they matter in when picking a species, and it goes right back to education, like we said. What age do you want to get them at? Do you want a sling, a juvenile? Sometimes they're called spiderlings.
Yep.
Juveniles can be a little bit like a subadult for the reptile people.
Yep.
Um, we've already talked about old world versus new world, and old world really probably is not a good choice for you, even the best of them. Um, and a couple of things that for me matter: is it an arboreal, a terrestrial, or a fossorial?
Mm-hmm.
So arboreal, I think most people know, that's a tree dwelling or high dwelling type of a tarantula. Terrestrial, pretty simple. It likes to live on the ground, roams around. Fossorial is one that basically digs in the dirt, makes holes, buries and hides itself. And I think that personally, fossorial tarantulas aren't necessarily great for first time tarantula people, because they can be kind of boring. You don't see them a lot. A lot of the fossorials are really good at hiding. They don't want to be seen. You'll see them during feeding time. So if you're not ready and prepared for that, and the hard part is that so many of those fossorial ones are absolutely stunning. They're gorgeous. They're cool to look at, but you don't get to see it much. So terrestrial and arboreal ones, you'll get to see a lot more. Um, and that brings me to my next point. Is it something you feel that you want to handle, or is it something that you're okay being a display species? And to be perfectly honest, for your first tarantula, I wouldn't worry about handling it a ton. If you're new to this, it might not be the best. Um, you might want to get with an experienced keeper to help you learn about handling a tarantula. And as we've said before, even though we handle them a bunch, and I'm restraining myself from going and picking up my big black tarantula back there, it's for us, not for them. The tarantulas don't care about being handled. So, um, that being said, what was darn notes? Um, you know, Urticating hares. We had a whole nice episode on urticating hares to go back, and Kate educated us very well on the different levels and what that means. So go back to our past episodes on urticating hares, and that brings you to this point. Are they hair kickers? is that particular species, there we go, known to be hair kickers. And I've seen, I'm going to pick on like the Mexican red knees and fire legs. I have had some that are perfectly fine. I've had some that are very much hair kickers. So, and on top of that, is it a skittish animal?
Mhm.
And we'll get into that with certain ones. Then you get into price, availability, lifespan, and growth rate. Um, those are going to be some factors. Um, if you have a hard time affording the price, you might have a hard time affording the care. But just
Mhm.
because I'm going to out myself, one of my favorite species, the Arizona blondes. They're almost all wild caught. They're incredibly cheap, less than $100. Most places you can pick them up for around $50, give or take.
Mhm.
But just because it's a cheap tarantula does not mean that it doesn't have a standard of care. So don't take that as that.
Yeah.
Um, but if you're only buying on price, then save up a little bit. Make sure your standard of care is ready before you get the animal. That you have the housing, the proper substrate, the proper hydration system, whatever it needs, whether it's dry or wet. Um, what's up, Green? I love you too in the UK.
Wow,
What's
UK.
up, Wesley? So with that being said, is it list time?
Yeah,
All right.
I'd
Kat's
say
got something cool for us.
yeah. So I have here one of the rares in the hobby. Um, generosity. Basically, to all of my collection is from Tom Patterson. So thank you, Tom. I love you. Um, but yeah, so I have
Clip
here
it.
uh, Bonatania tanzari. I'm gonna once I open it, I'll let you guys come and see it. But it is a dwarf species. Got caught here. All right. So if okay, I don't know how I can get you guys closer. Can you guys see that? Okay, how about there? Is that good? Can you see that
Looks good.
right there? Here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me get a small paintbrush because this is a small tarantula.
So hey, Kat, why don't you tell us why you put it on a sheet of paper?
Oh yeah. So I am also on a floor mat, which is rubber. It's soft, but I'm also putting it on paper so you guys can actually see this species because it's a dwarf species. And if you have something black, you do not want to lose it.
Huh.
So I have this size here. Anyways, I don't know how well you can see it.
All right. So my point in asking her that, folks, was the level of preparedness that she is. Oop, there it is. Showing us every extra safety precaution.
Oh, I thought that was the.
Oh, baby. We can see it really well. Beautiful.
So I'm gonna tap the back leg. Even though at this size, you still want to do your methods, your steps. Tap the back leg. You saw that hair kick?
Yes, I did.
So we're saying, don't bother me, but we have a calm demeanor, so we can still do a little pokes. Oh, you see that? We're turning around. That means we're hungry or do not bother me. So we're actually not going to pick this one up. See that? How it's grabbing.
Mm-hmm.
At this size, you can even get this same adult behavior. Look at
Mm-hmm.
that. Grabbing the brush, holding onto the brush, thinking that it's food. So, can you let go, baby? I'll give you something to eat. Let go. Let go. Thank you. All right. So I'm gonna grab her something to eat real quick. Can you see it that good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm It's actually shown up quite well. And by the way, folks, when you get a sling and you get them in a little cup like this or any type of little sling enclosure, this is actually really easy to see. Most slings can be very tough to see, and a lot of slings, whether they're arboreal, terrestrial, or fossorial, will actually burrow down in substrate. That's quite common for a lot of tarantula species of any type because they're little and they want to hide, and it's the safest place is to make their own little burrow in the ground.
Mm-hmm. And talk about the enclosure size, why it's in a deli cup.
So if you give them too much space as a sling, number one, it's going to be very hard to find them. Number two, it's going to be even harder to control the environment for something that small. Uh, and number three, just like a lot of other animals, if you give them something giant, it makes them a little more nervous. They
Mm-hmm.
like somewhere that they feel safe in. And I really agree with that. There's been arguments when it comes to snakes and lizards when they're babies. And I have found in my personal experience that giving an animal that's something that's too big without any areas to hide makes them more nervous. So,
All right, so here in my hand, I have a small superworm. Thanks to the generosity of Sean that provided me with these worms. All right, so because it's small, it's the perfect size for the tarantula, although they can take down something a little bit bigger, but you don't want to give them that. So when you're feeding them superworms or any type of worm, and you don't know if your tarantula is in pre-molt, always crush the head of the prey
mhm.
so they don't dig and then eat your tarantula.
Same thing goes for crickets.
Yes, especially for crickets. So here we go.
Crickets are jerks.
Ooh, nice. We
Get
were.
some.
All right. So,
So there
yeah,
is no anti-venom for tarantulas, really.
no, because there's no need.
Hmm. No one has ever actually died of a tarantula bite if they weren't uh, allergic. There we go. Words. I got words, cat.
um, I want to point out too, when you're feeding tarantulas, make sure you top off their water dish because they get really thirsty after they eat. Even though they had all the hydration, they still uh, need that water after they eat.
And I have a minor cheat code that I like. Um, I have found out that I like to feed fruit flies quite a bit to my true slings until they become an actual spiderling, because fruit flies are really safe, um, and much easier to leave in there, and I don't have to worry if they're pre-molt, molting, post-molt. Now there's difficulties with that, right? Fruit flies get out. So I buy help me out here with the correct name. Is it we call them the Heidi's, the large fruit flies? Um, is that the
Uh,
correct name?
I don't know.
Uh, but they're the large. When you go to any feeder store, they'll be the large fruit flies. If they don't know what that is, don't get them from there.
Okay.
That's They don't know what they're doing.
Mm.
Um, so generally, one of the great people to talk to about fruit flies is actually dart frog people, because
Oh.
that's primarily what they feed. We've got a great vendor up here in Michigan with us called Cedar Creek Dart Frogs, and they charge I think $6 or $7 for a fruit fly culture. And then
Mhm.
once you get it, you can just get your own rapashi fruit fly culture stuff and raise your own. But I
Mhm.
actually take the short fruit fly cups, because they have the fruit fly lids on them. And then I
Yeah.
turn those into a little, once the slings get a little bit bigger, I turn those into a little sling enclosure. I give them a nice piece of small cork bark to hide under down there. Like she said, a nice little tiny water dish. And I miss the sides every so often. And it's worked out really well. I can control the humidity, I can control the food source, and fruit fly cups are not very expensive. Now, fruit fly cups, everybody knows, are tall, but they make a shorter one for like dubious, and you can get that shorter one so you don't have this crazy tall top either.
Mm. All right. So this one is also considered a wait, right there.
Yep, there we go.
Sling. And I can't take this one out, but I wanted to show you This one is in pre-molt, heavy duty pre-molt. So let me see if I can show you guys the like closeness of the abdomen. So all the hair is kicked off. This is its molt mat right here because we are going to get ready to molt. And so when you see your tarantula has a very big booty, big abdomen, very dark or shiny, that means we're getting ready to molt. Also,
Mm-hmm.
very lethargic, very slow moving is because they're getting ready to molt. So I'm going to give her some water and make sure one side has enough humidity. Ooh, sorry, honey. That was too strong.
Yeah, when you have a feeling they're going to be in pre-molt, I usually give it just I use a mister similar to hers, and I try to mist the substrate just lightly, just to give it a little bit of something in there.
Yeah.
Um, I've also noticed too that one of the things that's helped some of my tarantulas is even in the winter, the summer definitely, I'll put because air conditioning is on almost everywhere, I put like a little seed mat down, um, or some type of heat mat underneath all my tarantula enclosures, and I keep it at about 80 because 75 at night, 70 at night, because most tarantulas come from a reasonably warm area.
Yeah.
Um, and I've been doing some research, and I want to continue down that road. We know this is true for snakes. We know it's true for lizards and a lot of other animals, but the correct temperature helps with metabolism and digestion of food. So that's going to be one of my long research projects is to find out how much we actually know about that and what actually happens. So just because they're in a desert doesn't mean they need 100-degree temperatures because they hide underneath rocks. They hide under cool areas to cool themselves off. So really where they're at might only be 70 degrees or 80 degrees, not 100 degrees.
Exactly.
Um, so I found 80-ish degrees, 75-ish degrees to be a pretty solid temperature. Um, and I've noticed when there's a warm area, one of my test was I used an Arizona blonde because they come from a hot area, and I did a long enclosure. Half of it was on the heat mat, half of it was not. I figure we'll do it like a snake. They have a cool area and a warm area, and they spend a lot of their time on the warm area. And that let me know what we needed to do.
Mhm.
It's a Chaco.
Yes, good job. All right, so a lot of people, this is one of the hobby staples, beginner. Um, in my opinion, this is just me from my experience. I'm not saying this is the same with everyone. In my experience, my grandma Stella poker bees have always been spicy. So this is the next size up from the previous. This is a juvenile, full juvenile species, or the size of it would be like the palm of your hand. So the next size up would be around this inch mark. So this is 4 inches right here. And we're going to test if we're hungry, moody, or if we're okay. So we touch the back leg. Hi, Sweeney. Are we going to be a good girl?
You seem happy enough.
I don't know. She's turning around. Oh, okay.
Nope, apparently not.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
She said, leave me alone.
this is an awesome point right here. So on my list, I'm gonna out one of the ones on my list real quick, and I want everybody to notice this. My experience is the exact opposite of cats, and I actually love it that we have a different opinion on something because I really want you to listen that two people that have dealt with tarantulas on in different ways have different opinions on this. So that way, when you hear something on Dave's Beasties, who's a great tarantula channel, or the Tarantula Collective, or Urban Tarantulas, or some of the any of the ones out there that have big channels, that there are going to be different opinions because of different experiences.
Yep.
I've had exceptionally good luck with literally every Chaco Goldenie that I've ever had, or I should say have dealt with, that I've taken photos of, that I've poked and prodded to move around.
Yeah.
I had one this last weekend that might or might not be coming home with me soon. I literally had it at a reptile expo. I was handling it, showing everybody how cool it was. A lot of first time people got to see it. And so for me, Chaco Goldenies are heavily on my list of first time ones that I recommend. But I want you to know that that doesn't mean that it is necessarily the best one.
Mm-hmm.
As you just saw, she was not happy when that abdomen throws in the air like that. That is a no-go. That is, you're done. We're not
And
touching you.
yeah, and you saw how she didn't kick hair. She just lifted that booty.
Mm-hmm.
So that just goes to show you that that's just step one before kicking hairs. So she
Yep.
was mad, but she wasn't mad enough to kick hairs.
Yep. Oh, and by the way, folks, they might not kick hairs. They might not raise, their booty, but they'll show you something first,
Mm-hmm.
and they might skip kicking hairs and go right to threat display or possibly even a bite. So pay attention.
Yeah,
Don't assume that there's a slow progression into violence. it,
exactly.
it might happen quick.
Right. Okay. So here we have, I don't know how well you can see that. Let me get,
Oh, is this a curly hair?
no,
Can't see.
often mistaken for curly hair, but no,
Chilean rose hair?
nope.
Dang it,
But
I'm swinging and missing.
yeah, this is actually native species to Northern America from Missouri
Oh.
all the way up to Maine and here in Massachusetts as well. This is, oh, there we go. The Alphonopelma hensi, also known as the Texas brown tarantula.
Mm-hmm.
But
Very cool
they,
tarantula.
yeah, they are very widely known. All,
Slide it back just a touch, cat.
no, look, there.
A little bit forward. Perfect. There we go.
All right, so this is Shadow. Story on this. When it comes to purchasing at a pet chain store, this is why majority of the time, I don't like getting tarantulas at pet paint stores because they often mislabel their tarantulas. So here's the story. When I was at the store, I'm not going to say which one, I was looking for, what was it? I think it was a Samani. No, it was a T. Vegans. I was looking for T. Vegans, one of the red rumps. And so I got it as a juvenile, a young, very young juvenile. And so when I got it, it kind of looked like the T. Vegans. So I thought, okay, I got it, T. Vegans. It molted out into this, which is not a T. Vegans, but a Phaneropelma hensi. So when you're at a pet chain store and a tarantula looks like another tarantula species because they're young, make sure when they grow up, you know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, honey. You see it? I'm always tapping the back leg to see. Oh, we kicked some hair.
Mm-hmm.
But are we still wanting to? Maybe.
And by the way, folks, this goes back to learning your animal. Sometimes animals kick hair in their enclosures. It's a defensive thing, but once
Mm-hmm.
they're out, they're more calm.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of tarantulas that become very enclosure defensive that will kick hairs getting them out or getting into their enclosures, even if it's a deli cup at a show.
Mm-hmm.
And once they're out, they're perfectly fine.
Yep.
No issues, no hair kicking. We're comfortable.
So that slow moving is okay. You don't want to rush them. So you saw how I took a little break.
Yeah, both of my Arizonas, the minute I do anything in their enclosure, they both look at me like they're going to kick hairs. They've calmed down a little bit, but it's very common for me to just mess their water dish or do anything like that. Even when feeding them, sometimes they'll think about kicking a hair. But I'll put my hand down there and tap them into it, and they're fine.
So we have a lot of resistance here, so I'm not going to force her. So even though she's halfway out, not halfway out, but if they, become really stiff, they don't want to come out. So I'm not going, so that's showing respect. So I'm going to tap her back in. There we go. Because you never want to force them out. Never. Okay.
Yep. Do you see that little front flick there, folks, where she tapped that? That's a warning tap. She kind of kicked that brush there real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll know the difference because they'll reach out, they'll pull their little leg back, and they'll reach out and they'll kind of tap quick.
Man, nobody wants to come out, really? All right, I'm gonna try.
Don't worry if you don't. I've got one that absolutely wants to. She will not stay in her stinking enclosure. She thinks that she's supposed to roam everywhere.
All right, this is Mitzi, the Chilean rose hair or porteri.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see.
Another cool Grammostola species.
Mm-hmm. Again,
Grammostola rosea.
Yeah.
Look at me go learning the Latin.
Yeah. One of the so-called beginner species. I say they're not.
That is something that I was actually going to bring up too.
Saw that?
And there you go. I have something I like to call a 50-50 species, right?
Yeah.
Since we're on that, I'll bring them up, and I'm going to make a lot of people upset.
Okay.
Curly hairs are not a first-time species, in my opinion, and I will explain why. 50% of them I've found to be very happy and docile. The other 50, not so much. And they have the most urticating hairs of any of the species out there.
That's true.
So if you're new to the hobby, why pick the porcupine?
Yep.
Even in their enclosure, even if they're not hair kickers, their enclosure is going to be absolutely doused with urticating hairs. So anytime you do anything in there, you run the risk of really irritating your skin, your eyes, your nose, your throat. And I have nothing personally against them. I just dislike that because they're readily available, they're inexpensive, and some person at one point said they're the greatest, the one I've got, the best ever. They just became a staple of the hobby and the ultimate first time tarantula that everybody seems to recommend. And it might not be, just like the Chilean rose hair. If you get one that's good and happy, they're awesome. But if you don't, it's kind of disappointing if it's your first tarantula. And it can be a little intimidating. Also on that list are one that I like, that I think for intermediate people is good, but pink toes, right?
Yeah.
I have seen some amazing pink toes that are the most docile things ever that remind me of my Brazilian black. The other ones are just so skittish and fast that they're going to intimidate a first-time tarantula owner because they skitter around so fast. And there's a few on that list, right? Like I said, the red legs, the fire legs, the red knees, all of those can make some amazing first-time pets, but they can also be hair-kicking, grumpy little turds.
Yeah.
Green bottle blues for me are the exact same. I've seen so many that are just skittish and or grumpy, but I've seen some that are amazing. But my problem is I don't want to recommend hoping that I'm going to get the one that's amazing versus the grumpster.
Right.
And
So,
by the way, folks, grumpy tarantulas can easily be dealt with time, patience, and experience. And if you're new to it, you're just it's easy to get the time and the patience, but the experience needs needs a little bit. You need to go and earn that a little bit, and go spend time with someone like Kat, or like I did with Andy, or find someone in the hobby that's willing to part some knowledge. Maybe go volunteer at there's a lot of places out there that will let you volunteer to help feed tarantulas, because they've got hundreds of them, when they're working in there, and that's an easy way to gain experience.
yep. So what do I have here?
That looks like a Brazilian black from here, what I'm seeing, but has a
Yep.
very reddish booty.
Yeah, he's balding. He's getting ready
Uh-oh.
soon.
Is he getting ready for his last molt, or has he got a couple more?
I hope not. But this is Gotham. He is my number one baby because he's been, since I've had him since the sling, he's always been sweet. I mean, I think he knows my voice. He knows my vibration. So he's always been very sweet with me. Um, why am I working on the floor, Joe?
Oh, I'm sitting here literally waiting for somebody to answer in the group.
Oh.
So we go back to, if it's on the floor, it can't fall.
Mm-hmm.
And Brazilian blacks are not an arboreal species. So Sean, if you want to click to me, uh, when you look at terrestrial versus arboreal, right? So terrestrial will have a hook like this. All right. Those are what are going to be on their little feet. They'll have two little hooks that'll help them hold on to stuff. Arboreals actually have them hooked. They're curved to hang on to things. Terrestrials are a lot straighter. It helps them move faster across flat ground. So
Yep.
what that means is a terrestrial species is not meant to be up in the air. None of them should really be up in the air and being suspended because they have the chance of falling, but definitely not a terrestrial like what she's got.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Sean.
I also want to point out too. Now, the reason why we say tarantulas are tolerant is because they don't really like the feel of human skin. Look, see that? He's always going to avoid it, but they can tolerate it.
I have a theory as to why that is.
Why?
So, if you had a chance to climb a ladder, or you were at, let's say, a butcher shop, and you could climb the side of a beef, which is going to feel more sturdy to you? A solid beam or pole, or do you want to grab something squishy? And we're
Right.
squishy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have known a few tarantulas, when they're colder, will like to sit in my hand or on my arm because I'm warm, and like to stay there because of warmth. It's not because they like me. It's just because I'm warm. Tarantulas like warmth too. Um, but yeah, I would think that it's probably kind of like for them walking across a waterbed or something, like how we feel in super loose beach sand. Like every one of us is going to choose a sidewalk at a beach to walk on versus the sand almost every time, right? Because
Right.
it doesn't feel, we don't have a sound footing.
All right. So you see what I'm doing? Hand, underhand.
And by the way, if you bring your hand over the top of the tarantula, you could spook it, and you also aren't able to see it.
There you go. So we're going to take a little rest.
I
No?
think most everybody in the exotics hobby knows that don't take your eyes off the animal.
Right. There he goes. There you go. And you always want to guide them. Wait for their little toesies.
Oh goodness, yes.
And we're going to go back home.
That reminds me of something I want to say. So folks out there, there's a lot of different enclosures that you can put an animal in. and we've talked about them. Uh, there are a lot of different acrylic ones that have magnets on them. Be very, very careful of the magnetic ones. Um, when you close them, some of the magnets are really strong. I'm not calling out a brand or anything like that. I had an incident that almost happened here a little bit back, and I was being very careful, and that saved the animal. Um, and it had come back up the enclosure and wanted to come back out, and it got just a little paw there as I went to let the lid close back down. And luckily, I had my thumb right there, and I always keep my thumb in because I'm scared of it snapping down and making too much noise, and frightening the animal just in general. Well, it had come back up, wanted to come out, and I literally put my thumb there and stopped it, so I could poke it, and it went back down into its little hide. And if I had let that go, it probably would have snapped off, probably good 3/8 to a half an inch of its foot,
Wow.
or crushed it. So
Okay. All right. So what did we learn?
that all of your animals, except for the one, did not want to play today.
Yeah. Yep. Basically. So yeah, um, you never want to stress them by forcing them to wanting to come out, as you saw with most of my animals. Now they're not going to be like that all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I do want to point out too is that it is winter, so they're very lethargic. However, very moody during winter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when they're in pre-molt, don't mess with them. They they will give you that sign, don't mess with me. So like how you saw with Sweeney, she's probably going to go into pre-molt and she doesn't want to be messed with. Gotham, on the other hand, he's in heavy pre-molt and he will keep going, he will keep walking, he would, you know, he's very hyper. But that does not mean that every day I could take him out and stuff like that, so don't do.
Mm-hmm. People, don't try to walk your tarantulas.
Right.
They're not for walking.
Yeah. So my list, did I do my list yet or no?
No, let's do your list, and then I'll jump over to mine when you're done. And folks, I'm actually hoping that we have a very different list, um, because I want you to see the difference of opinions, in that matters, right? Because that's going to mean experience has been different. And once again, it furthers you to go out and do your own research, to go and actually look. Don't, Kat said it best, don't just go buy it on a whim, on an impulse. Go spend time, find a good vendor and a breeder in your area, and let them know that you're brand new and that you want to check it out and see what works for you,
Mhm.
um, and what you like, and do your research. Watch everyone. If you're gonna watch YouTube, watch everybody's. Don't just watch, like, you know what I really like, you know, Captain Tarantula over here, out of Arizona. They have the coolest shit in, dang it, clip it. And they have the coolest stuff, and I want one of theirs. Well, watch everybody's. Watch Tarantula Collective, Spider Shop, Urban Tarantula, Dave's Beasties. I don't know if Marshall Arachnids puts anything out. Anyone that I'm missing, I'm sure there's a ton of other great. I think there's a guy named Tom Moran. Who am I missing, Kat? There's somebody out there.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would personally say Tom Moran is for education. Tom Moran.
there you
Uh,
go. Big shout out to you, Tom Moran.
yeah, for breeding, to getting into breeding and stuff like that. Um, Dave's Little Beasties in the UK. For
I
inter,
also like his enclosures a lot too. He does a really good job with those.
yeah. For entertainment, you have Tarantula, the Tarantula Collective, and Urban Tarantulas. Those. Oh, and the Dark Den, but the Dark Den does a
Yep.
lot more education too. So yeah.
And there you go, folks. And just because they're a smaller YouTube channel too, don't discount them. Watch any little bit of knowledge you can get, but actually go through and start reading some of the Google research. Don't just use Wikipedia,
Yeah.
um, and make sure that it's current.
Yeah.
just like in the reptile hobby or the other exotic hobby, there's a lot of outdated knowledge. Um, I know of a few at least tarantulas that have been reclassified, renamed. They're finding out that Arizona blondes are not just Arizona blondes; they're different localities. Um, and they're starting to wonder if there's actually two different types.
Yeah.
There's the what Amazon pink toe or Amazonian pink toe. That's not actually. They removed it from the aviculare group, which almost all pink toes are under the aviculare group.
Yep.
Um,
Carabina.
what else? Yep. Uh, I'm missing some other ones, but they've reclassified a few of those, and they've changed names. My favorite. So Brazilian blacks aren't actually Brazilian blacks, folks. We still call them that because it's so common. Kat and I had to do some research, and I just finished watching some more of it the other day. Um, so we mixed up two species because they look so very similar. And they are actually what I guess the easiest way to call them is cousins.
Cousins. Yeah.
They're still able to breed, but I had one. Um, we call it a Grammostola curii, right? Did I say it right?
Your guy. Yep.
Curii. That's actually what we're supposed to call Brazilian black. Was an Ecuadorian beauty or
Uruguay.
Paraguay, yeah. Black beauty.
Yep.
And we swapped the two species, and the only real difference you can see outwardly is that once they're finished molting, the other species actually has light white stripes on its legs and knees. Very hard to see.
Yeah.
That tells you that just because it's on the internet and just because it's been thought to be so doesn't mean it's right. The entire tarantula hobby pretty much had this wrong for decades. So like I said, do your research. And it's still to this day, people are learning about it and knowing it, but we're still calling Brazilian blacks because that's what we've called them for so long.
Yep.
Even though that what I've really got is a GQ, not a GP. I don't care because it's a beautiful pet either way.
Yeah.
And they're both so very similar in temperament and personality that I guess it really doesn't matter. But that's just one more instance of why pay attention, do your research, follow the science, learn the bodies. If I had known more about that species, I would have known right off the bat what I had had until it molted and those white stripes were super apparent. And I went, well, that's not the thing that I thought it was.
Yeah. So I am washing later. I'm gonna do a thorough wash, but I can feel the eradicating hairs from Shadow and from my Chilean rose. I literally felt like in my pinky. Ugh. But anyways, it's not that bad. It's just irritating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So later I'm gonna do soap and water, and we're gonna call it a night.
Sean wants to know what level the urticating hairs are on a Brazilian black.
2.
2? That's not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Not bad at all.
So,
Oh,
do
okay.
you want to do your full list?
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So before
No.
we. Yeah. Okay. So not because I'm biased, but because you know, their temperament, their age, and their size for both male and female, and their husbandry is really easy kept. The Brazilian black or the Kuragai is my number one species. Number two, I'm gonna do 5. Number 2 would be, I'm sorry, but number 2 is a pink toe, the avicularia, because they're so basic and very easy to keep for, more than the carabiner versicolor or any
Mm-hmm.
type of avicularia or carabina. Any arboreal new world, they're just very easy to keep. Um, and okay, so that was number 2. Number 3 would, in my opinion, the Aphonopelma, any Aphonopelma. So Aphonopelma samani, Aphonopelma caucodes, even the Aphonopelma gabelli, they're very easy to take care of, like easy maintenance. Yeah, four. Am I the fourth? Yeah, fourth would be the tanzerai. Did I say it right? Yes, the tanzerai. The bonanita teni bonzerai. Yeah. What? Tanzerai. I need some sleep. Click. So that would be number four. What?
I have to start with the jumping spider. Okay, you know what? That's an awesome point. Before we'll stop our list for a second.
Yeah.
Jumping spiders, people, are a great starter
Yeah.
spider to get into. Super hardy, easy to keep. They have not a ton of requirements. They're fun. They're very personal. They actually do like to come out. Captive bred ones, find a really good breeder. They
Mhm.
actually do like to come out and interact with people. So the downsides of them are the short lifespan, but everything else on them is awesome. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Real quick, I need everyone, and I know I'm not the only one who feels this way. Okay, pet chain stores are starting to wild caught jumping spiders and selling them.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, I'm calling you guys out. Petco and PetSmart are taking these spiders that have no business in doing in their small tiny containers when they should be kept in a big area, because that's where they're from. Their natural habitat is a wide range. So that's not the only reason. I have a friend who has been asking me questions because they had bought from a pet chain store a jumping spider. Supposedly, when you buy stuff from a pet chain store, they're supposed to be captive bred. This person bought one from the store and it laid a sack. How could it lay a sack if it's captive bred? Because
Mm-hmm.
it was wild caught. So now he has to deal with 109. He counted 109 babies. He's doing
Mm-hmm.
a job. But if you're a first time beginner trying to get into tarantulas and you start with a jumping spider and you buy one from the store, 90% of the chance you're getting a wild caught. Might as well just go outside and get one yourself. Don't pay 30, 20, $40, even $60 for a jumping spider that's going to last you either 1 or 2 years, because you don't know if it's a male or female. Males last between 3 to 6 months to a year, depending on what species of jumping spider. And then not knowing that if it's wild caught or captive bred, 99% it's not going to be captive bred. So please, I need everyone to don't just please don't buy a jumping spider from the store. Get one from online where you know 100% is going to be captive bred and it's going to come to you as a sling and you can raise it up. I
There are
need
a ton of
everyone.
great captive bred people to buy from in
Yes,
the US. Tons and
yes.
tons.
So I need everyone to either sign a petition, uh, put what's it called, a complaint to the stores, write a complaint, do whatever you can to stop this from happening, because it's not only damaging our ecosystem across America, it's also damaging our ecosystem from illegal importing. So that's my spiel on the jumping spider debate.
I'm gonna number one, clip it, Sean. That needs to be said. That definitely needs to be repeated. We have all been to Petco, PetSmart, some of these other big chains, because you get into a pinch. And whatever your local store is out or is closed or is farther away, and so you're stuck having to use them every so often.
Mm-hmm.
I was in there not too long ago because they carry Reptisoil pretty cheap, and it's a pretty standard substrate that I can use for a lot of different tarantulas and lizards and everything else, and I know it's safe. Um, Went in for sale to get some, And of course, you can't help it. We are who we are. No matter what we say, you always venture over and you look at the animals. And
Yeah.
especially us, we're looking over at the exotics. Kat and I are like, what do you got for tarantulas? And I'm seeing $30 pink toes, aviculae, which wasn't, it was aviculae metallic.
Yeah.
Metallic, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mentioned to the lady, I said, which kind of pink toes do you think you have down there? And
Mm.
the comment is what told me everything that you need to know about these chain stores. Hold on,
Yep.
I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get right up in the camera. They're just spiders, man.
Big mistake.
You buy from a pet store that says they're just anything. When they give you that kind of attitude towards any kind of a pet, number one, why do you work there if you just really don't give a crap? Go work at Walmart. Go work at McDonald's. Go work anywhere else. Don't work at a pet store if you don't care about the animals.
Or if you don't know.
Yeah, especially if you don't know.
Yeah.
And people, if you don't know about an animal, I contact people all the time when I don't know something. When Kat offers me advice, I listen. Okay? Humble yourselves, get your ego out of the way. It's whatever's best for the animal. And if you don't know, ask.
Yep.
Flat out. And I did. So you go in and you see these pink toes, right? Some other tarantulas, and their price is ridiculously cheap, right?
Mhm.
Like $20 for a juvenile. Yeah, I'm just and
Yeah.
they're what you call like there's a lot of wild caught pink toes in the hobby. It happens. And you can kind of tell because the wild caught stuff's usually a little bit more skittish. And these
Mhm.
things are crazy skittish, and I've held a bunch. So yeah, they're getting wild caught stuff, and they're just not telling you.
Yeah. Not only that, some of the tarantulas at these stores are being sold way overpriced. And
Oh my
miss
goodness.
a GBB, 199. Why? Why?
Ugh.
Yeah.
And definitely, you know, well, I'll get into that on my list as to my feelings on GBBs. That's gonna be the second one I make people mad about.
Yeah. But ooh,
All right. So what else you got on your list, Kat?
oh, that scared me.
Do you think you knocked over an enclosure?
Yeah. No, I didn't. It was the light. Um. So for my last one, um, would be a Tillicado verdezi. Okay, they are precious and need to be more in the hobby. However, this species heavily gives out more. Hi, Sybil. Gives out more male than female. So if you have a verdezi, most likely, like if you get it as a sling, most likely you have a male. It's so rare that you find a female. But yeah, this species is,
What's the common
I'm
name?
I don't know, but
Whoa,
it's,
whoa.
yeah, I don't know, but it's Tillicado verdezi. Um, so T verdezi. I don't know the common name. You could look it up. Um, they are the second to, I'm going to say the first one, but they are the second, in my opinion, the best, and I mean best species to handle, take care of. Now, this is my opinion and my experience. Um, I just love them. The sad thing is there's more males, so the mature males don't last long either for this species. They last up to a year or less. Yeah. And then my number one, which needs to be more in the hobby, is the Homeoma chiliensis. The It used to be the Euryses, but now it's Homeoma chiliensis. They are a dwarf species, and they are the number one tarantula that has never been reported to give you any threat pose, kick hair, They're just the best, and I'm dying for one, but it's so rare in the hobby. That's
So
it.
the Tilicotti verdezi is called the Mexican Rose Gray.
Okay, rose gray.
Um, yeah, and there's a lot of stuff from northern Mexico, Oklahoma, Texas area that's actually pretty cool. There's, I want to say it's a Tilicotti species, but it actually, I think they call it like the North American Brazilian black. It's a little black tarantula. It doesn't get quite as big, I think,
Oh yeah,
as I cannot remember the full. I'll have to ask a friend of mine that had some for sale. I wish I would have grabbed one
yeah. A
because
and Darchi.
they're black like a Brazilian black,
Yep.
very similar temperament to that or in Arizona. So with
Hmm.
that, I'm gonna go kind of out of order of hers. My favorite to recommend for new people, even though 90% of them are wild caught, are the Arizona blonde, and for a couple reasons. They are so easy to find. They have decently long lifespans, and they're slow growers. So things that are slow growers are typically longer lifespans. Um, Even when they do kick hairs, they're only a level one, so they're the least urticating hairs of a tarantula out there, and they have been reported. Now, do not do this, people, for a whole host of reasons, but people can go out and have gone out and just literally gone out, said, "Hey, look at you, tarantula on the ground, pick it up, take it home, and they've got a new pet." Do not do that. Do not do that. For a lot of reasons, your safety, their safety. It's probably illegal in I'm assuming a lot of areas. Um, and also, we need to, if you can find somebody that captive breeds them, please do, so we can cut down on the amount of wild caught. Anything we can do to cut down on wild caught helps. He says that as he has two upstairs, but I'm looking for, I believe I have two females, and I'm looking for a male to hopefully put some love back in the hobby. But they are very inexpensive, can easily be found under $100. Low level verticating hairs. I've got two that are the most temperamental Arizona blondes I've seen, and I can handle them at will. They kick a little hairs at me sometimes, and that's the worst of it. So they're okay as far as eaters go. They're not the greatest, they're not the worst. They're great display species, which I think is very important for first timers. You want a tarantula that's going to be out and you can see they're constantly out and doing stuff. Um, they have got a very sandy color to them, and they usually have a contrasting kind of black on the inside of their legs, and the outside is going to be that nice sandy blonde to hide. So those are my number one.
Nice.
My number two is one that we just saw she had problems with. So once again, do your research, go check it out. And it's a Chaco Golden Knee. I have had amazing luck with Chaco Golden Knees. I have heard of what I just saw, and it's the first time I've actually been able to see it in person, one that was grumpy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, I got one I'm going to hopefully pick up here soon that she is just an absolute doll. And the same people have got it from, their daughter has a monster one female, and she is just an absolute sweetheart. She's been the first tarantula I can't countless people have actually been able to hold because she's so sweet. But that goes to show you that just because I know of, I don't even know how many I've seen now at this point. Just because I've seen that many, handled that many that have been calm, doesn't mean that I've just not gotten lucky and not found the Grumposaur one. So, but I put them at number two because of price and availability. Brazilian blacks would be number one on my list. These are my top three, would be number one on my list. Oh, yeah, Sky, we'll talk about green bottles. Um, Brazilian blacks would be number one if it wasn't for availability and price.
Mm.
Availability on those has gone way down because they have stopped exporting and we are not able to import them from South America. One by one, the country shut down a lot of their exporting, and I'm not angry at them for that. I get that it's best for the hobby, it's best for nature, and honestly, if we stop down a lot of importing, maybe we'd be forced to actually breed some of these animals instead of continuously collecting them from the outside. But you can find these Brazilian blacks Go look on Morph Market if you get bored and look up the Brazilian blacks. Either we got into that, either the GQ or the GP. Gonna say it, I can do it, Cat. Gramasola Curai.
Kira guy.
Dang it. Um, and Gramasola Pulchra. Um, and either one is very expensive. I've seen both of them up over $1,000 right now, and there's some up over 2,000. Some I think I saw one the other day for over 3,000 for a large adult female. That's Morph Market, so they charge a lot. Sometimes they're not really that willing to sell, so they're willing to jack the price up.
Yeah.
But yeah, well over $1,000 is pretty common. I got
Yeah.
lucky. I know people.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andy. And I did not pay an arm and a leg. I still have both of my kidneys. If it was not for that, they would be my absolute number one. They're one of the only species I've known of that I have had I've heard of a rumor from one person that said they knew of one. So it was those, I know a guy that knew a guy that knew a guy, but they're one of the only species that I have known of that nobody has, that's widely known that doesn't. Um, those are my big three, as I call them. Those are my first three recommendations. Um, Now, saying that, that's as an adult. Okay,
Mhm.
that's as a fully grown animal that I know what the temperament is at this point. Slings is always a roll of the dice. Juvenile, still a bit of a roll of the dice because they're small and still nervous. Now, my honorable mentions are pumpkin patch, a dwarfish species. I've seen those very commonly. I've known a couple less than thrilled ones, but they're not super grumpy. So even if it's not the happiest of ones, it's still not a super grumpy animal.
Mhm.
Um, and they're pretty, they're orange, and they're not huge. So it kind of makes them a nice beginner species because you're not intimidated by something that's the downside of chacos too. They can get really big. They're not
Yeah.
bird eater size, but they're big.
Yeah.
Long legs. But a pumpkin patch, I don't know what, about 2.5, 3 inches, I think is max for a
Yeah.
female. They're not big. And
Papilopus.
and
Yeah. Species.
and pink toes. Pink toes are an honorable mention on my list. The aviculae, and the metallic.
Mhm.
They're very similar in temperament and even in look a little bit, which is why they get confused.
Yeah.
And
M1, M2.
most I know that there's also a lot of muddied waters with those two where
Yeah.
they've been bred back and forth mistakenly, accidentally,
Yeah.
sometimes on purpose. Um, but the ones that I do want to talk about, versicolors and green bottle blues. Now,
Mm.
why is that? People want a versicolor because they're absolutely stunning,
It
right?
is. Yes.
So stunning, and so many of the pink toes. Pink toes are just a great group. I mean, there's actually giant pink toes, like a Goliath pink toe, that's still in aviculae. There's aviculae purpea, which is basically a purple pink toe, which is stunning, hard to find. There's the Cosmic Dream pink toe, also stunning, hard to find. The versicolor
Amazing.
is easy to find.
Yeah.
Prices aren't bad on them.
Hmm.
Um, if you want a display species that you're not going to do a lot with, they're not bad, but they can be skittish. I call them a 50-50 species because some are really chill, some are skittish. And I've known a lot of great versicolors. I've known a few that were not so happy. Um, Green bottle blues, I've known a lot of grumpy green bottle blues, and everybody loves their green bottle blues. I think they're an awesome tarantula for maybe a second or a third tarantula.
Yeah.
Um, Personal opinion, not your first. They can be too grumpy sometimes. And I've known a lot of green bottle blues that web really heavy and hide,
Yeah.
and you don't get to see them. So that's really boring. So now you have a tarantula you don't really want to touch and you can't see.
Yeah.
So I kind of take them off the list. Whereas I'm with Kat. A lot of the arboreals are really nice because you can see them. They're easy to keep. So I would say I go with her on the pink toes. If
Hmm.
you want one that you're not necessarily worried about handling, pink toes are my go-to. The avicular or the avicular metallica. Um, and they're just considered to be the common pink toes.
Yeah. I want to answer a question here.
Go for it.
Um, where did I see it? K Gems, Dark Desire Pythons. Are male or female tarantulas more docile? So males, depending on species, it all depends on species. So
I'm glad you said it.
male, yeah. So for males, they're typically more skittish. Females are more defensive. um, yeah.
Oh,
So it also depends on what molt cycle they're in. So with that answer, you will never know. Yeah, you can't say yes or no. What was that, Joe?
oh. So a couple of friends of mine. Just on a note, my first personal tarantulas were all tarantulas that you should not personally buy. But like I said, I had a lot of experience in the industry. Pokies are some of my favorite because they're beautiful. Friends of mine just made me up some sign. Poke around and find out.
Oh yeah, I like that.
And I say that because going off of what was just talked about, I gotta do this while I'm facing you. Yeah, uh, that is. Oh wow, my lens is dirty. That is the best saying. When you work with these animals and you start doing stuff, it really is mess around and find out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what we're trying to talk to you about here is, darn it, is to not find out, is to for both you and the animal to not find out.
You're right.
So once again, do your research.
Yeah. So that's
As you notice, we agree on a lot of stuff, and
Mhm.
we didn't even agree on all the animals. We had a couple we agree on, and that goes to show you that you can't just base your opinion off of what everybody else says.
Mhm. Yeah. So that's a good segue into our next episode that we should do is talk about only old worlds. What do you say?
Ooh, you know what? I was going to ask. We should maybe get Andy Whitaker from Eight Legs on for that episode, seeing as he has a ton of old worlds.
Yes.
Andy introduced me to some very fun old worlds. We've done, and Kat's seen some of the pictures. My absolute favorite old world, I think, that I've ever done for Andy was a Singapore Blue,
Mhm.
because she showed up and she was spicy at home before she came, spicy during the trip, and spicy after she left. But when we did the photo shoot, I do not do this at home, people. I'm just dumb and really lucky. Um, she kept getting stuck on my tongue, so I finally said, "Heck with it," and I used my left hand for all the camera folks because all cameras are right-handed, so right hand's a clicky hand. Can't lose that one.
Yeah.
And I was actually able to pick up her feet individually with my fingers gently and pose her, and she was so calm and relaxed that I was able to do that. That was an awesome experience. You just aren't able to do those things with tarantulas like that typically. So
Yeah.
understanding that is a really cool experience. And old worlds are just fun.
Yeah. Very fun. Yeah, because we can definitely talk about that because I have some that are relatively calm and some that are not. And there's a lot that we can discuss about old worlds that isn't really typically shined light on. So yeah.
Mm-mm. I feel like there's a lot of your I keep looking at the screen. You know, your favorite baboon tarantulas. There are so many wives' tales about those things out there.
Yeah. And 10 of them. There's 10 species.
What did I do with my other wire?
Pokemon, gotta catch them all.
Oh,
Wait,
come here,
no.
baby.
Sarah, gotta catch them all. That sounds horrible. Click.
All right. Do you want out again?
Who
So,
is
and
that?
this is why I like. All right. So she is an active girl and likes to get out. She loves to get out. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is why Brazilian blacks, if they were more readily available, would be my absolute number one.
Yeah.
Um,
John, blow him up. I think he fell asleep.
so I'm gonna see if I can look at the fangs on this girl.
Gorgeous.
Now, it's really weird, but with Brazilian blacks, they drop their fangs a little bit, I've noticed, and my
Hmm.
fingers are literally touching the bottom of her fangs here, people.
Yeah.
Do not do this. This is stupid. I'm doing this for a particular reason so you can see. I'm moving this here so you can see them and she comes out. Um,
Mine does the same.
and they will drag them over your hands. Let's see if I can actually get a better view. How about that, Kat? Can you see them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Hello, gorgeous.
she is an absolute gem. Um, she is so ridiculously calm um, that my wife, who's never wanted to touch a tarantula, was perfectly comfortable holding her.
Yeah.
Happy to do so. And this girl lets me just move her around. She
Hmm.
actually prefers to be out and moving. As you can see, I'm trying to let her go, and I
Yep.
tip my hands down, and there we go. She'll
Yeah.
start crawling around sometimes, and she likes being out. It's
They
really
do.
strange.
Yeah, they do. They're wanderers.
Which is why this, by the way, folks, for me is the minimum enclosure for her. Um, she's going to get upgraded. This is like I think we said a 15 by 11 by 10, 15 long, 11 deep, 10 tall. Yeah, something like that. This is her first enclosure, and then I'm thinking that she's going to get ready to molt possibly soon. We'll see how she does. Brazilian blacks, because they're such slow growers, can be in pre-molt for like I've
Ever.
heard up to a year.
Yep.
Yeah. They can also go on hunger strikes like ball pythons.
Yep.
So all fun things.
Hmm.
As much as she's webbing, I'm thinking that she's starting to mark her little home in here, and I'm going to come down one of these days and see a nice little web bed.
Yeah.
Now, this particular little fun person, this is going to be a good time. Um, where did I put my other light? There it is. We're not using any fancy lights today. We're using a flashlight because this thing is good fun.
Sean, blow
So
him up.
this
There you go.
is a you're gonna have to help me out here. Purple bloom bird eater, a P
Yeah.
macula.
Panthobidius platioma.
Macula.
Okay. Sorry, it's not a Panthobidius. It is a P. machala. So is it Formictimus or Panthobidius?
I don't know. It starts with P.
Yeah, P. Yeah, P.
So
machala.
can we see all the purple in here, Kat?
Oh, it's shining.
So this little booger has been the hair kickingest tarantula, and that's truly impressive after bird eaters of all different kinds, um, all kinds of, because honestly, a lot of red knees are known to be hair kickers and fire legs and just some really aggressive kicking. This one is extra special. So on
Hmm.
that note, this is why you pay attention to what you get. And although there's disagreements, different opinions on what are the best first time tarantulas, there are some that are just the absolute worst. And this one's up there with the tippity top.
Yeah,
So
and
as you can see, what you didn't see there, folks, that moves so fast, it spun in there and kicked hair at the same time. It was truly impressive.
yeah.
So as you can see right now, the level of aggression just by
Hmm.
poking this guy is getting me, and I'm being very gentle, and this guy is not having it. And this is an interesting species because um, pretty sure this is a male because as they get older, um, the males are the ones that have the most color.
Yep.
The females actually darken out and are kind of boring looking.
Yeah, almost brown.
So these guys also have a shorter lifespan. being a photographer, I chose it 100% for looks, not for temperament.
Yeah. And
And
they're
as you can see, it's gorgeous.
yeah. They get really big because they're amphibious, and they are, I wouldn't say bird eater, but they are, very big. They grow big.
They, that's another good thing. That term bird eater gets thrown around. So many things are called a bird eater that are not.
Yeah, that are not.
Number one, there's no real tarantula that's a true bird eater.
Right.
Um, but bird eater usually means size, and these guys get quite large.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
but as you can see, it poses really well. It's going to be very pretty. Um, it's really funny. They call it purple, but it's more pink.
Mhm. I know. They do. That's a lot of misconceptions as well. Their common names are so stupid. Like the El
Yes,
Sazima,
ma'am.
they call it the blue tarantula, right? The blue,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not. It's literally purple. So why are
Mm-hmm.
these people calling it the blue tarantula when it's not? It's purple.
Of course, you're on camera, so you don't want to show everybody how you assault me all the time. So if everybody can see that abdomen in the back, it's being hidden by the legs, but you see that leg right down there. This leg, let's see if I can, hold on, let me grab I'm going to turn this light up. Where did I put the light? Ba-do-ba-ba-do. And you can already see some of the hairs on the lens kind of. Put this up against somewhere dark maybe, or light. Maybe point, there we go. See the light reflecting? That's urticating hairs already all over it, folks.
Good thing you didn't open
That's
the lid.
all right. There we go. More light.
You're showing the grass.
So
Okay, there you go.
look at this leg right here. Do you see that? That
Yeah.
leg is actually ready to kick hairs. This animal has got this ready to throw hairs right now.
Ha.
That is what it sets up like. So when it bunches up like it's doing right now, I've been slowly but surely working with this over the last couple of days, and it is calming down a little bit. Got a nice enclosure I built for it. By the way, folks, a nice, comfortable enclosure does a lot to relax an animal.
Mm-hmm.
Giving
Accommodation.
it somewhere to feel safe. Now it's out of a deli cup. It is way more behaved. Well behaved, I should say, not behaved. Um, me do English good.
Accommodation is key.
Mm-hmm. Now, as you can see, it is actually calming down. This thing was an absolute terror. So now we can kind of see these colors really pop and shine. But this is not a first time tarantula. You notice the difference in mannerisms, how I'm handling it versus, this big, beautiful Brazilian black. I literally was able to reach right in and grab her.
Right.
Very different animals, very different temperaments. And that's the point. Lots of fun, lots of pretty.
I hope everyone can learn and take home everything. Well, ooh. Wow, 2 hours. We did good.
Oh, wow, wow, that went quick. I'm going to put you away, my little fuzzy friends. Little rage monster. And they do. They all have their different personalities. And by the way, I want to tell everybody that I'm going to turn the light off for those guys so they're not getting baked. They do have a certain amount of function as to how they act and think. So I was lucky enough to get a tarantula from my sister Kat, and she is awesome. And it took me a little while for her and I to kind of bond. And for Kat, she was just a gem. For me, she went, mm-mm, I don't like you, hairy man. Stranger danger. And so it took a while of feeding her and talking really sweet to her before she kind of relaxed a little bit with me. And I can open her enclosure now and I don't get hairs kicked at me every time.
I found a molt. I was, and so this is where I keep the molt, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I emptied it all out, and I found the last molt of what I just gave you, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see an epigastric furrow slip, so I'm thinking it could be a male. We're gonna have to wait.
Yeah. That's the upside of being a photographer. I'm not necessarily in it to breed. I'm in it to have a beautiful animal, and I got that. Salmon pink bird eaters are awesome.
Yeah.
I actually saw that the other night on the list as a possible first time tarantula, and I went, "What?
Uh-uh.
Why?
No.
That's a bad one."
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that. Probably my wife would tell you I was more like yelling TV, like, "What's wrong with you?" Um, yeah, click it. What's wrong with you? New hashtag. Um,
What's wrong with
uh, it's a big spider. It's a fast spider, and they can be
bird?
very calm and super chill. I've seen a lot of them. I regret uh, not picking one up that went through a couple of friends here recently. I was like, "Ah, I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it." Now I'm like, I wish I would have got it. I wish I would have got it. And it was ridiculously calm.
Mhm.
And I've seen OBTs that have been ridiculously calm. Horned baboons, Goliath. Actually, Goliath bird eaters. I've known a lot of different Goliath bird eaters that have been pretty calm.
Mine.
But but the flip side, I've seen ones that scared me a little. That
Yeah.
charged the enclosure, that charged the deli cup, and I mean they weren't messing around. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't a threat pose. It was a if you're there, the fangs were out. And by the way, folks, tarantulas when they actually drop those fangs and they're out, they are ready to bite. You
Yep. When
know,
you
a
see
threat
them.
pose, you'll see a lot of them. They'll have their fangs still tucked back in. But
Yeah.
when they're already out,
Yeah.
they're
Like
not
this.
playing around. They want you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's a
So
bad day.
normal, we're cool. A little bit out, maybe. I am going to bite you.
I'm not gonna lie, my when I saw that, my stomach dropped a couple times, remembering a bird eater that came at me, and I was like, "No, no, 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 no!" And by the way, there's no such things as tongs long enough for a full size bird eater that's pissed off.
Mm,
Um, I literally ended up just kind of doinking it with the end of my lens, going, "Nope, back!" And then I
yeah.
flipped up my light box and closed in there for a minute, and went, "Okay." Then I
Yeah.
poke open the little hole in the top and look down. It's still sitting there right on the thing waiting for me. It took a good 15 minutes before it backed off, and I ended up having to go in there and we finally got the photos. It relaxed. Getting it back into the deli cup was a good time. And by the way, deli cups for Goliath bird ears are freaking huge.
Yeah.
So once again, not necessarily a first time situation for people.
Mm-hmm.
And typically I think bird eaters are cool of all different types, but Goliath bird eaters can be kind of boring other than size. They're just brown, right? But they're massive
Mm-hmm.
unless you get one that's really relaxed and calm. And then they're honestly, I've seen a couple that are just like they have the same personality as my Brazilian black. They're just massive puppy dogs.
Yeah. Yep.
But
My,
understand their fangs are massive. So if you get one that's not, you want a giant, deep enclosure so that way when you feed it, you are a long ways away.
yep. A lot
Uh,
of clutter.
Full size bird eaters, Goliath bird eaters, they can eat mice.
Yep. Pinkies.
Yep,
But don't do it often. Just do it like once a month.
that's crazy to me. They're eating mammals. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
They can eat little chicks, little lizards, little
Mm-hmm.
anything that's basically the size of their abdomen or smaller. So,
That's a lot of tarantula.
yeah.
So once again, just because it seems cool doesn't mean it's necessarily a good first timer.
Mm-hmm.
And display versus touch.
Right.
I would say go with an animal that you feel safe handling, but you don't necessarily do it.
Mm-hmm.
But display goes a whole different way. But
Exactly.
I no, that's something we didn't say. So, what do you recommend? I personally recommend going with an adult. What age do you recommend first timers, Cat?
Juvenile. Okay, scratch that. Depending on what species you have, that's the answer. Depending what
There you
species.
go. That's a good answer. I like that. I
Because
like. Go ahead.
yeah, because if we're talking about Theraphosa, the bird eaters, slings to juveniles are a-holes. They are so fast and so skittish, but the adults are very calm and
Hmm.
they're good. So that's just one genus. Um, the Grammostola poker piece, you already saw. My juvenile is a little rare, but yours could be a sweetheart. It all depends. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
See, and that's me personally. I like sending people to adults because unless it's a male and you want something a little bit longer, and you really once again do your research because like Grammostola pulchras, Brazilian black males can live a long time. I've heard hooked out they can live like 2 years or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
So, folks, I think we've talked about it before, but males, when they fully mature, their last molt after they call what's hooked out, these little parts that come out and once again, our anatomy. And at that point, all they want to do is breed and they're going to die.
Yeah.
Once they hook out, that's it. That's the end of their life. Some of them, they have what, 6 months? And other species have like Brazilian blacks up to 2 years. So know your species.
Yep.
Um, that guy right there is a male, but he's not that big, so he's probably got another year or so left on his life before he
Mm-hmm.
hooks out. Because I researched it, and I know that the males I think have like a 4 year lifespan. It's not long,
Oh,
something short.
mm,
Yeah, maybe six, something like that. But it was really short for tarantulas, and once they hook out, I'm going to reach out to all of my tarantula friends. Does anybody know anybody that's trying to breed these? Because once it hooks out, it's essentially a death sentence. It's the end of time for it, and its entire existence at that point is to make more babies. So it's going to die anyways. The best thing you can do is at least give it a chance to maybe make more babies for the hobby to keep wild
mhm.
caught out of the market.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention about the mature males. So they do right after they hook out, a month later, even earlier, they start making their sperm webs. So when they make a sperm web, that's basically them. It's a weird process. It's like throwing your liquid onto a mat and then sucking it all up in your fingers. That's how it is. But anyways, once they do that every month or so, even earlier. So every time they make this sperm web, they lose energy. So, and once they're full, their emboli, once they're full, they need to deposit it. So it drains their lifespan if they do not have the access to a female.
That's an excellent point to make. And so what I'm getting from that is basically the act of not mating is shortening the lifespan even more,
Mm-hmm.
exponentially shortening it. So
Yeah.
a lot of people don't like it because there's a good chance that when spiders mate, that the male dies. It's quite common,
Mm-hmm.
and most breeders do everything that they can to give that male as much chance to breed as possible. But they're legitimately designed
Mm-hmm. To be
to do
eaten.
that. The female needs that energy, right? They need
Yeah.
that meal to help produce the baby. So that male, that's kind of it. And,
Yeah.
and there's other ways that this happens in nature. Velvet spiders, okay, velvet spiders. I found this out not long ago, um, and I'm not gonna lie, I got all sad about it because I was like, oh,
Yeah.
the female's velvet spider lays all the eggs, and as she lays the egg sac, she essentially starts dying.
Yep.
And her entire process is so she dies so her babies can eat her, so they have food to
Yep.
make their life on. So
Mm-hmm.
nature's beautiful and mean.
Yeah. Crazy.
Click it. Nature, it's beautiful and mean.
Right.
Yeah, so I hope everybody paid attention. I think we beat a few points home.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and it's the first time tarantula getting is going to be fun. Um, don't rush into it. Enjoy the moment. Spend the time. Learn. Talk to a lot of different tarantula vendors and breeders, and see what everybody's got. And if you don't find what you want right now, like if you're looking locally, don't just rush into whatever is available. Um, Wait a
Mhm.
little bit. You never know what's going to come around.
Yeah.
Um, and get in with different tarantula groups around. Find people that are trustworthy and willing to share knowledge. Like I said, there's a lot of big breeders out there that have big barns and warehouses full of tarantulas that they need help feeding, and that's a good way to essentially like apprentice, learn. Tell them that, hey, I'll volunteer to help feed if you can teach me about the tarantulas.
Hmm.
You'd be amazed at how many places are willing to do that if you are are willing to put in the work and time and be open to learning and listening.
Yep. Or just contact me or Joe.
I'll tell you, okay, yep, click. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm like literally the worst to have like, so what do you have? Don't listen to what I have. Don't go my
oh,
route. Most of my stuff is old world, and a good portion of the non-old world stuff is spicy and or has potent venom.
mhm.
Got two Venezuelan sun tigers. Hey, look, the almost the worst of the of the new world. You know,
Yeah.
Purple bloom bird eater. Um, uh, my more chill, kind of slightly spicy. Salmon pink bird eater. You know, um, I don't know where I want to rank the Cuban bronze on that list, but they're a little skittish, but they're not
Spicy.
aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the pokies, of course, I think
Yeah.
pokies are overrated as far as the fear factor goes,
Hmm.
but definitely skittish and fast. And
Teleporters.
they're, yep. And what'll end up happening is you won't get bit; they'll just get hurt,
Yeah.
or you'll lose them in your house, and then they'll get hurt.
Yep. Basically.
Yeah.
Basically, don't ask Joe.
Fine cat. Yeah. How did you do that? I don't want to talk about it. I did it all the wrong way. All the stuff you're not supposed to do. Don't
Uh,
handle your tarantulas as he grabs it. Here.
right? No, but
No,
you've been doing great with them. So
no. I am very careful as to who and when I handle stuff,
yeah.
folks. There's a lot of stuff you'll see me that you notice I did not stick my hand in that purple bloom bird eaters. Nope. 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 Nope.
Yeah.
That one will bite me for sure. That one is no joke. Let me know. Um, the salmon pink one, we'll see. We're getting there.
Hmm.
We're being friendly. Maybe.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yes, Sky, perfect. Time and place for everything. Thank you, Sky.
Oh wow. I was way off on the comments. I'm so sorry. I was all the way at the top and then I didn't scroll.
I have not
I
been
missed
looking at
all these
all.
comments.
What kind of did Buzz on Home Alone have? Oh, that's the. I think they actually used a couple different kinds of tarantulas on that. If I remember right, that was one of the big
Yeah.
talks, the original Home Alone. Because
Yeah.
one of them, I think, was a Choco Golden knee, wasn't it?
So there's three that, either one of them was the Mandela effect because when I was a kid watching it, I remember it was a Rakipama Homori,
Mm-hmm.
the red knee, then it
Mm-hmm.
was a golden knee, and then the last one was the Afonipama Samani, the zebra knee.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. But I very vaguely remember it was a red knee. Yeah.
I got to go back and watch it now. Oh, Mike, yes. Look at that, Mike. He wants to know if he can hold her as his first. Most definitely, brother. Definitely. She's a good girl. You can definitely uh
What's wrong with you? I'm looking at the comments.
that's funny. Yeah, actually I had just literally, and I want to say this, I huge shout out to my wife, wonderful lady. She actually bought that Brazilian black for me as a present,
Oh,
because she knows that I wanted one of those. Like, there's so many amazing tarantulas out there, folks. There's like ridiculously gorgeous ones. There's crazy expensive ones. There's a new Ecuadorian. God, what was it? They're asking crazy money for it. Like, you look on Morph Market, go high to low on the tarantulas, and it's listed in the like $8,000 to $10,000 mark. Right? Yep, exactly, Cat. Wait, folks.
why?
Don't buy it right now. Wait, in a couple years it'll drop in price, just like Goody Sapphires did, like
Yep.
everything else. I remember when I first started doing this, Goody Sapphires were anywhere from 600 to 1,000 to get an adult female, and now you can pick them up for 200 to 300. So, um, yeah.
Yeah. Hold on.
Um,
There's a question here. I'm sorry. I just saw it. Um, Kristen KNL, do you wear goggles and such when cleaning tanks and handling the ones that flick hairs? Yes. Um,
if you can't
I
see
guess,
my beard flipping with a crazy head shake, yes. Like,
yeah.
um, oh, also, so tonight, right? Perfect example. We had the deli cup that the purple bloom came in, that it was kicking like crazy. I haven't had a chance to look up and see what level the urticating hairs are. I just know it was full of them because it's being a jerk.
Yeah.
So I literally cracked the lid open. Oh, of course it is. I must be doing well keeping away from it because I have no itchies today. I do notice the level force.
Yeah.
I can feel as it feels like real fiberglass. But I have a sprayer very much like yours, and it's a fine mist sprayer, and I
Hmm.
saturated the dirt in there. So you won't get as much of the hairs in you because it won't be able to get airborne if you
Right.
saturate the dirt.
Hmm.
So if I have to do any kind of work, I'll mist a little bit. For this, we're just throwing the dirt out, and now my son doesn't have to wear goggles and gloves and worry about it because I literally saturated the dirt till it was just short of mud, and all he had to do is go out and dump it, and then pour more water in it into our little trees, and then dump it again. And then by the time summer comes along, those are decaying hairs will be broke down.
Hmm.
So if you keep it from being dust, it will help out a lot. But
Yeah.
by the way, just because it's in the water, if they're fresh hairs and you get the water on you, the hairs can still get on you. So gloves for sure, at least. You
Yeah.
might not need goggles when they're wet, but gloves for sure. I would
Yeah.
also throw out there, if your lung function is good, a dust mask, and you don't have a giant beard like mine that prevents it, but a dust mask isn't a horrible idea either.
Yeah. Yeah. Because those hairs are hydrophobic.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool. Yeah. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end.
Heck yeah.
You guys are awesome.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. We're
Lots
very
of
passionate about this episode. That's why we
yes.
ran super long.
Well, it's a big deal to us because there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot
Hmm.
of people trying to tell you exactly how you have to do it, and there's a lot of fear and guilt tactics out there in the hobby, period. If you don't do this, you hate your animal. If you don't do that, you hate your animal, or it's going to die, or the world's going to end. And I don't like that.
Hmm.
I don't. And there's the opposite end of it too, like, whatever, it'll be fine. Yeah, it can live in 60 degrees, it'll be fine. Yeah, feed it whenever, it'll be fine. And we've seen both ends of that. And on top of it, we're fighting against the raw fear that Hollywood has created. Like, I love
Yeah.
Jeff Daniels, but arachnophobia, thank you. Thank you. Um, you know, crazy things. I mean, there's not a sci-fi show out there that at some point hasn't used, you know, some kind of spider is an evil thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
Spiders have got the connotation of evil, even in, love Lord of the Rings, but you
Yep.
know,
Hmm.
they made, in the Hobbit in there, they made spiders evil. So we're fighting against that. And as we saw today, that beautiful Brazilian black, you could see her. She's literally walking along. I'm touching her fangs to my teeth. If she wanted to nail me, I would be hosed. There's nothing I'm gonna do. She has
Right.
zero desire. She doesn't want to bite me. And so being able to encourage people to see them as beautiful, we want you to know the risks, but we want you to know they're beautiful. They're amazing. And the experiences. This girl, before I even brought her home, we literally just bought her, and I'm like a kid. I'm literally like, yay! I'm popping this open, and my wife's like, "You're not even waiting until you get home." I'm like, "No!" And so here she is in the middle of a show, and I'm getting her out, and she was literally coming out of the enclosure and wanted on my hand,
Yeah.
and then sits down, warms up, and
Mm-hmm.
that's all she's doing. She doesn't love me, folks. I know she doesn't love me. I love her. She doesn't love me, and she's warming up on my hand because my hand's nice and warm.
Yeah.
And then we got the opportunity. There's a lady that was selling geckos behind us that's never got to touch tarantulas and is scared of spiders. She did an incredibly brave thing and fought
Uh,
her fears and said, "Can I hold it?" And I said, "Yes." And she says, "I'm scared of spiders." I said, "Okay." And so we had her take her hand, not like this, flat. I said, "The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put her hand down here." And so we put it down on the table, and I explained in there, and actually, and her daughter didn't realize her daughter was videotaping it. So that way, if you do get scared and you jerk your hand, the animal doesn't go flying, and you can hold your hand still. Less
yeah.
chance of you getting hurt in the animal. And so then she's able to actually move around and hold it. It was really awesome.
Yeah.
And it's a very fulfilling thing watching people, face their fears, and you have this really cool animal that helps them go, wow. And then
Yeah.
she turns around, and my next time, my wife. And so it's like, and now Big Mike wants to do his first hold with her. So she's and that makes that special, when you
Yeah.
have a species, an animal that's willing to do that to change minds.
Yeah. I love hearing those types of stories.
Uh-oh, which show?
The one that you were at the one that you got
Oh,
your.
yep. That would be, we were up at the Grand Rapids show, Mike. But I was at the Taylor show the day before it, and it was bad because I'm really walking at that thing going, "You got one of them there Brazilian blacks, buddy?" "Yeah, you got one of them Brazilian blacks. I might want one of those." And I wasn't going to pull the trigger. I'm like, yeah, they're expensive. And so my wife showed up, and Andy took good care of us, and we got that. And then the purple bloom just was a cherry on top because it's raw beauty,
Yeah.
um, and a crazy good price on it. So
Mm-hmm.
yep, big shout out. Uh, yeah, it was awesome. And
Nice.
it's a really cool thing having these animals, folks. I definitely recommend getting a tarantula.
Yep.
And you do not think out there that some of those folks, if I haven't beat some, you do not have to handle the tarantula. You don't.
Mm-mm.
You can go its entire life with just basic tong and uh, paintbrush, or super straw handling to move it around to do things, and you don't. And if you're really worried about you might have to touch it rehousing, that's when you get an adult. You give it a good size enclosure, you never have to rehouse it, and you're set. And now
Yep.
you have a wonderful animal.
Yep.
So, yep, Mike. It was Andy and Jen and family. Oh, Andy wants to get on with his stepdaughter there, Emily, young Emily, who learned how to do tarantulas. So, uh, there's a good chance we'll have him on the show here, folks. I'm hoping that I think that'd be actually cool to have them come on and talk about the old world stuff.
Yeah.
You guys can talk Latin, and I'll sit here like a big dummy going,
No problem.
I'm gonna sit here like, yeah, exactly
Yep.
what you guys said. Uh huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with that. A lot of head nodding.
Yep. I'll be like, this one time when I took a picture. Oh goodness, yeah. Now I have a lot of love for the old world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's going to happen, folks, when you get into it and you start learning and you get the confidence, the experience, and really the humility and the patience to keep more advanced ones. It's amazing what you can get. I've had amazing luck with my pokies. They're just such an awesome group,
Yeah.
with patience, and I mean a lot of patience in picking days when they feel less zoomy.
Yep.
And my Salem ornamental, she's been far enough along past her molt. She's calmed down, had a few feeds in her, and I think she's going to be ready for the light box soon. And we're going to have her in there with the cork bark and everything. And I think we'll have a pretty easy time with her.
Take a lot of pictures.
Yeah, if you haven't, another wonderful thing, like, so this is a photographer moment. As you saw when I shined just a basic LED light on that purple
The,
bloom there,
yeah.
and how that just lit up.
Mm,
Indian ornamentals, ivory ornamentals, Salem ornamentals, all the pokies, Bengal spotted. There's like what, 15, 16, 17 of them, something like that.
mm-hmm.
Um, they Sean's sleepy. All right. So yeah, if you actually shine an LED light on a juvenile to an adult, you will see all different kinds of purples in them, like true purples, like an almost bluish purple on them, and they're ridiculously gorgeous. And
Yeah.
so these tarantulas have so much to show that you can't even see with your naked eye sometimes. Anyways,
They're very pretty. Yeah, this was great. Thank you everyone for coming in, joining in, and learning. We did great.
heck yeah, thank you all. Appreciate you. I don't know, Sky, if any do glow under black light.
No, none.
Good to
No
know.
tarantulas. No.
Also, I'm going to throw this out there too. Be very careful with black lights on some of these. And be careful the black lights you use, because black lights have UV light that comes off them. You can burn things with UV light, i.e., different types of optical nerves. All right. If you actually sit in bright enough black light for a while, you will get a headache and your eyes will hurt. So it's no different for the animals. Be very careful. It's the same reason I'm very careful with using, and I almost, it's a rare occasion just because I'm so nervous with it, what flash does to especially like invertebrates. I know what it kind of does with reptiles and mammals, but be very careful with that stuff. They can't close their eyes. They don't
Right.
have that. Their optical nerves are different. So, and there's literally zero research done on that. So I'm just nervous about the trial and error part and hurting an animal.
Yeah.
Oh, stop it, Mike. Stop it. Oh, Mike. You're cracking me up, bro. Oh man, what an amazing group tonight. Thank you all.
Yeah, this was fun.
Heck yeah. Every show gets better.
For sure. Sean,
Hey, buddy.
you there? There you go.
There he is.
Yeah. Hello. I'm just
We're
waiting for
waiting for.
y'all to tell me you're ready to go. I ain't going to tell y'all when to leave.
Yo, big shout out to Sean for having the back room going for us and taking care of us.
Hey, shout out to all those that came through and subscribed during this show right here. We're officially at 170 right now.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we're only 6 months and a few days into this. So
That's awesome.
you guys are awesome. Everybody's
Heck yeah.
awesome. Keep on subscribing, folks. We can't do this without you.
Heck yeah. Dude. So many awesome people showed up tonight. Just dang. I just keep going back over there, like, just lots of discussion. I loved it. Thank you all.
You know, it's right when you think you can only have so many things to say about a tarantula. You guys always seem to surprise me the very next week with so
More.
much more information.
Yeah,
I'm
for
like,
sure.
Okay.
They got a lot going on, man. They got a lot going on.
Oh yeah.
Multifaceted animals.
Yeah. It's hard to keep the noise down for mine, but that's because I got kids running around the house.
They're
But I
they're
do,
they're adaptable.
yeah.
They will slowly but surely adapt to that. Animals are far more adaptable than people. They really are. And as long as their heat, humidity, food is right, got good hides, they'll chill. I mean, you figure Arizona blondes live on the side of highways.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hey, that one with the big old butt cat. I don't remember what the tarantula was called. the one with the big butt that shot it up in the air, and I thought it was about to go down.
Yeah.
Boy, it made me jump out of my seat. I was like, "Ooh, she's gonna get it!"
That was so perfect.
There
That was
was.
so
Yeah,
perfect. Because
I
I'm
didn't
over here
count it.
like, you need to get you a Choco Goldie, and then here's this one like,
yeah.
no,
You were
you
just
don't.
telling me that today, dude. I was like, "Oh, I think I want a second one," and you're like, "Oh, get a Choco," and I'm like, "Yeah, I saw one of
Hmm.
those. They're actually pretty cool looking."
But for new people, that's why I like, unless it's something like a Brazilian black or something like that that is got a larger chance of being chill, get an adult. Otherwise, like a Brazilian black, yeah, get a juvenile, get a spider, a spiderling or a sling.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, y'all had a great show tonight, man. I'm gonna jump backstage whenever y'all want to wrap. Just let me know.
Yeah, we're
I
ready to
I
wrap.
I think we're ready. Throw a big shout out to our Chris Eaton. Thank you again, Chris Eaton, and always Shauna for helping hold that down. Uh, U.S. Arc, thank you for making it so we can still everyone in the hobby can do all this.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for your constant vigilance and work.
Yep.
If you're not a U.S. Arc member or you don't support U.S. Arc, check them out. I'm not telling you to, but I think you should if you're into the hobby.
Yep. Shout out to Dritz over at Underdark Inverts, and Tom Patterson at Hardcore Arachnids.
Hell yes.
And Jesus Arthropods. Okay, that's it.